Welcome, everybody. It's Friday, January 12th. John Aravosis here with the Aravosis Report. Woo! Hey, guys. How are you? Hopefully, my mic is my mic. I actually bought some new tech to help with the mic on YouTube, by the way. So hopefully we will find out on Monday or Tuesday if it helps the sound, but hopefully it will. So please don't complain today. It's all I can do. Here, make sure it's turned up. There we go. Turned up as far as I'm a little afraid to turn it up any farther. Well, although there, without it like getting really nasty, but we'll see. All right. Because I turned it up really far, but sometimes it can get staticky and stuff. All right. Let me get YouTube going here, or TikTok, I should say. You guys are on YouTube. La, 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 la. The wind is starting to kick up. Where are you, Kelly? I don't remember. Are you Midwest? Because I know Chicago, we're getting a lot of snow again. We've been getting it, and it's still getting it, I guess. Hang here. Ukraine update. Go live. Boom. Okay. Oop. Nice gray hair right in the middle sticking out. Illinois. Okay, so you are Illinois. Yeah. Okay, so that figures. Yeah, you guys, I mean, I was very jealous, though. All the snow was coming to Illinois after I left, which is always the case. I don't know, I leave and it snows. But anyway, so welcome, everybody. We got TikTok starting now. We'll wait a minute for folks to join us. Anyway, starting to have rain. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, DC, it's been very nice, really. Even next week when it's going to be nasty in the rest of the U.S., it's going to be 30s here, which is better than 0. Chicago is going to be like 0 during the day. Hey, Sally. Hey, John. Thank you for the gift there on TikTok. How are we, folks? Привет, info. I was going to say как дела, but that's probably Russian. How would you say как дела for Ukrainian? Like, how's it going? I'm guessing как дела is Russian because that's how I learned it. Hey, Gothenburg. Hey, Corporal. Thank you, Lori, for the gift. Spravi. Is that a chu? Chudovi? Spravi chudovi. Oh boy, that's hard. Hey, Derek, I'm not going to remember that one. Jak spravi or jak spravu is easier, I would think. Yeah. Jak spravi. So is that spravu or spravi when you write it in English? It's actually easier for me in Cyrillic, to be honest. Thank you, Laurie. Write it in Cyrillic. It'll be easier for me. I will talk about what's happening with everything. Yes. Hey, Corporal, I've been here. You know, doesn't always show up on TikTok and everything else. They hide me, you know. Well, it's easier for me to read it in Cyrillic because then I know what it is. You know what I mean? Because then I'm like, oh, that's the letter. You know what I mean? Again, since I'd studied it, it helped. I meant to change location. Hold on a second. I've got the location thing. I've got my little, before we start, my, where is this? Let me upload this. Oh, thank you, Fnuties. Hang on, I've got a new overlay that updates my location here. Let me see if I can find it. I did update it after I saw your message, Manda. That was very helpful. Let me go here. Overlay. Here we go. And the newest is... Of course, I'm not going to find it now. Seriously? Oh, la la. Everything's being difficult here. Anyway, hey guys, yeah, give me a second. I'm looking at one last little thing here, but, well, I did update it. Can't find it now. Ukraine Topics 4. Hold on. Ukraine Topics 4. Oh, here we go. Hang on, let's do it again. Export as, all right, PNG. Boom, sorry, I'm updating my little template for, I put it in my Arizona photo folder. That would be the problem, wouldn't it? All right, overlay. Topics 4. There we go. All right, guys. Sorry. We're doing a slow Friday start here. Hey, Al. Thank you for that. All right. Here we go. Just for Manda. Okay, there we go. I can't see, but it should be Washington. Yeah, it's covering it up, but that should be good now. All right. Thank you, Joe, for the gift there. Anyway, hello, all. Welcome. Happy Friday, all. This is John Aravosis with the Aravosis Report. This is my nightly show, Monday to Friday, 6 o'clock Eastern Time, U.S. And we talk about the latest news from Ukraine, usually other news too. Thank you to, who was that, T-Bone, and Nicholas, and Bryce. Tonight, we're going to start talking about the U.S. and allied attack on the Houthis in Yemen. about why that happened, what it means, etc. Since that was a big story last night. It actually happened at the end of the show, so we stayed, if anybody was with us, I know a lot of you were with us, we stayed for about 45 minutes at the end of the show just to sort of talk about that, which I thought was really kind of fun and interesting. But anyway, so we'll start with the Houthi stuff, then we will talk about Ukraine, and then as always, I will open it up to everybody. Please do, as always, thank you, Eva. Was it T-Bone again, I think? Yep, T-Bone, thank you. And Eva, again, thank you. I will, please do keep the gifts coming. The gifts help pay my bills. I've been doing this full time, and the way I'm able to keep reporting the news like this and doing the show is by you guys helping me pay the bills. When will the music stop? I'm not sure what you mean by Nikki. Thank you, Succeed. So please do keep the gifts coming, TikTok, YouTube. And as always, YouTube Super Chats, I will answer those immediately if you have a YouTube Super Chat. All right, guys, let's get rolling. So, Coffee Talk. Tomorrow we have our Coffee Talk, which is our weekly hangout I do Saturday mornings for the paid subscribers. That's the folks who subscribe on TikTok, on YouTube, what is it? Ko-fi, Twitch, you name it, but all the monthly services. Thank you for the gift there, Cami. So anybody who subscribes on any of those, TikTok, if you're a monthly subscriber, you can just join us tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time US. Thank you, Derek. And we will be here. The time's going to change because I'm in DC now, so it'll be 11 a.m. Eastern Time US. Remember that. And for the rest of you, we'll be on Discord. I will set that up when we're done with the show. 11 a.m. Eastern Time US. All right. Ooh, thank you for the booty, for the antlers. All right, let's get rolling. So the Houthis. Let's talk about Houthi. So, sip of water, and then we dive in. So yesterday, big attack by the Brits, the Americans. Other countries supported it, but it's not clear whether other countries participated in the bombing besides the Brits and the Americans. The attack was on the Houthis, who are a terrorist group, even though Biden lifted the terrorist moniker in 2022. Thank you, Vicky. Before that, the U.S. considered them a terrorist group. I still think they are. But they're a group of terrorists that control part of Yemen. Yemen is a country in the Middle East. I keep meaning to, actually, Ava's going to do a map for us, but I keep meaning to print out a map to show you guys. But basically, if you know where Saudi Arabia is, think southeast of Saudi Arabia on the sea, okay? It is right in the middle there where a lot of international commercial traffic goes by ship. Actually, the numbers were even bigger than I thought. The number is 15% of world trade passes by on the sea. They're right off of Yemen. 30% of world shipping passes off of Yemen. And the Houthis in Yemen were basically trying to blow up ships kind of randomly. Initially, they claimed they were trying to go after Israel, but they were just going after any ships they were there as pirates. And again, 15% of world trade and 30% of world shipping were being threatened by the Houthis. Well, finally this week, before the bombing, Tuesday of this week, the Houthis went nuts. Thank you, K9 Nanny. The Houthis went nuts and, thank you, Makeb, shot a bunch of cruise missiles and drones into the commercial shipping lanes. So basically, they weren't going after Israel. They keep saying they're going after Israeli ships. I don't even know that they've gone after one Israeli ship. They just go after any ship that comes by because they're trying to cause trouble. And they, thank you, Buford, they went randomly into the commercial shipping lanes and fired, and the Brits and the Americans basically had enough and said, it's too unsafe, it's threatening international commerce. So we launched an attack last night. Thank you, Jen and Jonathan. The attack was a coalition attack, really, endorsed by Australia, Bahrain, which is really interesting because Bahrain is an Arab country right there in the region. Very interesting that Bahrain was a member of this. Canada and the Netherlands. We're all on board with the U.S. and the Brits. We fired 80 Tomahawk, actually the Americans fired 80 Tomahawk cruise missiles. We had a number of F-15 fighters in the air that were used to laser point the targets to light them up, for the cruise missiles to hit better. The missiles were launched from destroyers and submarines. I do not have details on what the Brits fired because this was all from American sources, but I'm sure the Brits fired some stuff too. From what we know, I'm adjusting my light here a little bit. There we go. From what we know, there were more than 60 sites in Yemen hit. 60 sites in 16 locations were targeted with 100 precision-guided munitions, which means 80 cruise missiles and then 20 other weapons were also used. Among the targets were air defense and munitions depots. That's kind of where we are, okay? Now, one story I just read claimed that the Biden administration gave the Houthis, who are, again, this terrorist group that have been blowing up shipping, and they claim they're doing it on behalf of the Palestinians. It's not clear why, because it doesn't help the Palestinians. It helps the Iranians, and they are an Iranian client. And my suspicion is Iran is the one asking them to do this, because basically they're just causing chaos, right? It's just like the Russians, basically. Thank you, crazy American. They just want to cause chaos. They want to claim it's because of Israel, but Israel has nothing to do with just attacking ships in commercial shipping lanes, especially any ship. They're not going after Israeli ships. They're going after every ship. So they're just trying to cause chaos. And, for whatever reason, thank you, Nikki. Who else do we have there? Or Nickel. I'm going to call you Nikki. Nikki for the 8-ball, or for the hearts, and the snowman, and Vicky for the snowman. So any case, that's what's going on. Where it stands, the Houthis are pissed. They claim they're going to get even. Let's see. It's not entirely clear. Thank you, Ernie. It's not entirely clear to me whether we can entirely put them in their place. I don't know. Maybe we can. Thank you, Hedge. I mean, clearly we've got a better military than they do by far. I just don't know whether, if needed, we can just sort of blow up everything in terms of munitions and put it to a stop. Nonetheless, this was an important raid. It had to happen. And bottom line, and because some people will ask, of course, well, but what does this mean? Is it dangerous or whatever? It doesn't. In a way, it doesn't matter, because the Houthis started it. They already declared war. They already went and attacked international commerce. But I don't mean that in a general facetious way. As we said, 30% of commercial shipping by sea was going along this route that they were threatening to stop. 15% of all international commerce they were threatening to stop. I mean, that's huge. That is a huge amount. They started it. There was no way to respond other than to respond militarily. Now, actually, I shouldn't even say that. The U.S. and the Brits and others had approached them before diplomatically and said, don't do this. Don't do this, or we're going to respond militarily, but you don't have to do this. They did it anyway. So anyway, just to be aware of that. Now, there was a story out today because some of the, progressives in Congress. Now, I always have to say something about this because I once was a progressive. Progressive used to be a term in America that was used for Democrats who were not conservative Democrats. Conservative Democrats traditionally have been very Republican. A conservative Democrat was not a moderate Democrat. It was somebody who kind of undercut a lot of Democratic ideals and a lot of Democratic programs like Obamacare and other stuff would be a conservative Democrat, like Joe Lieberman. But people who consider themselves, good liberals, not crazy lefties, like not socialists, not whatever, but at the same time not conservatives, would call themselves progressives. Well, as happens a lot on the left in America nowadays, a fringe group decided to take over. And this has happened in a lot of movements as well. LGBT movement has happened too. People from the outside came and just decided to take over the movement because it's much easier to steal somebody else's movement. And they did it with the progressive movement too. So now you will see on CNN and other networks, sorry, my nose is itching again, they'll refer to the socialist wing of the Democratic Party as the progressives. Thank you, Dawn. And you'll see AOC, Tlaib, Omar. I mean, AOC, I'm not a big fan of. The other two are nut jobs. But they're super liberal. They're super socialist. Within America, it kind of pins you as being pretty far to the left. Thank you, Adventures. But they're considered progressives now because they've basically stole the movement from the rest of us. So I will say progressives. Progressives, who are the fringe in Congress now, joined forces with the MAGA people and started criticizing Biden for the attack. Because, of course, as we all predicted, both sides would come together in the end, the far left and the far right. Thank you, Swan Lady or Swan Person. The progressives in Congress spoke out, pissed off at Biden, saying that Biden has to come to them under Article 1 of the Constitution. And they planned it too, by the way, because a number of them tweeted the exact same thing. Under Article 1 of the Constitution, Biden's attack on Yemen was illegal. He has to get our approval first. And if he doesn't get our approval first, then it's an illegal attack. Totally wrong. Totally wrong. Thank you, Dawn and Adventures. Totally wrong. Congress does not have to approve every military attack. That's not the way it works. The United States Senate has to approve America going to war. That is true. Although in the last many decades, it's not been clear what a war is anymore. So declaring war is kind of a funny thing now. Look at Russia and Ukraine. Russia claims that it's not a war that they're fighting because they've never declared war, right? So like, what is a war starts to get funny anyway. In any case, no, Biden does not have to get permission from the far left in Congress if he's going to attack Yemen. What Biden did do, however, which is typical, and it is the correct procedure for American presidents, before he launched the attack on Yemen, Biden alerted Congress and he notified Congress. Typically what happens is the president will reach out to the senior leadership in Congress. It's called the Gang of Eight. It's eight, sort of the eight top members of the House and Senate, Republican and Democrat, on defense issues, but also the leaders. So like the Speaker of the House and the top Democrat would be included. Thank you, Courtney. Right? And I think it's probably chair of the Appropriations Committee and maybe chair of I'd have to think about, or the Defense Committee. I actually have to look at this and see. Look at this. But in any case, it's the very top members of Congress on the issue that are notified. Well, Biden did go to Congress. Thank you, Nick. This is the funny part. Biden did notify Congress. He just didn't notify the progressives because the progressives are, frankly, insignificant. They're not leaders in Congress. So what really bothers me about this is, thank you, Tom. They lied. That's what bothers me about this. They lied. They didn't come out and say, yeah, Biden did come and brief the Gang of Eight or the top leaders of Congress, but we want him to brief all of us, right? We think he should come talk to all of us. That's fine if you think that. Thank you, Channer, for the galaxy there. If you think that, say it. They didn't say that. They put out the lie that Biden didn't come to Congress. Biden did go to Congress. He just didn't come to them because they're junior members. What really bothers me about this is, and I was noticing in the last day, these guys aren't alone. There was a really surprising, thank you, Tom, as well, for the confetti, if I didn't say it on TikTok. There was a really surprising outpouring of support for Yemen in the U.S. among the far left when we attacked yesterday. A lot of the Palestinian protesters are doing it. There was a protest in New York this evening supporting Yemen. I kid you not. It was a Palestinian protest in New York supporting Yemen, okay? Literally supporting terrorists, okay? It's not even debatable. They're literally supporting terrorists, okay? This protest in New York. The reason these guys are upset, I did a video on TikTok about it, but is multifold. One, the far left doesn't believe in military action anyway. Okay, fair enough, right? They're not big on military stuff, fair enough. Two, they do think that this is about Israel. Yemen says it's blowing up international shipping because of Israel. The far left thinks that if you blow up if you blow up Yemen in response, that means you're defending Israel, right? So the far left is basically buying into Yemen's argument. And by the way, I saw lots of people arguing this. Well, Yemen's doing this for Israel. So if you're blowing up Yemen, you're doing it for Israel. And you're like, no, Yemen isn't even attacking Israel, right? The Houthis are attacking international shipping of not just Israel's, but everybody. But I think we are seeing a typical, sadly, far left reaction. They don't like war. They don't like American wars. They don't like it when we blow people up. And the final thing is, this crowd always likes to talk about, they always like to base it, I like using the agency word because it's a word they like. They always like to take agency away from the Middle East. They always like to pretend like Middle Eastern countries, Palestinians, for example, they're all children. Like, they're not responsible for any of their actions. They're not responsible for any of the consequences that come from what they do. For example, I don't know, you launch a massive terrorist attack on Israel on October 7th, and knowing full well that Israel is going to respond massively, and when they do, you go, oh, that's not fair, right? And yet, 70% of you support that attack, right? Or in this case, the Houthis. The Houthis decide to commit international acts of terror. They get held responsible, and they go, that's not fair because, and my favorite is when they say because they're people of color. And that's an argument that comes up a lot with this crowd too, that it's just white people attacking people of color. And it's like, you know what? Give me a break. Thank you, Nick. These guys are getting attacked because they're terrorists. In any case, but trust me, if you follow stuff on social media, it's been very weird. The number of these people who think, like, because of the Palestinian crisis with Gaza, they're now somehow given sanction to also oppose strikes on Yemen using the same arguments. You know, it's genocide, it's this, it's that. And it's like, You're literally defending terrorists. Let's just be clear about that. So, all right. Let's move on. I think that's all we've got for this. Let's move on with Ukraine. Hang on a second. Let me just look here. Yes, that is it for it. Ukraine, it is day 687 of Vladimir Putin's special 3-day military operation. British Prime Minister Sunak arrived in Kyiv today. It was a surprise visit. I mean, not surprise to Zelensky, I'm sure, but to the rest of us. He announced a $3.2 billion or 2.5 billion pound aid package for the next year for Ukraine. I believe this was slightly bigger than the amount that the UK spent over the last year, which is huge. I mean, that's amazing. These things are important because Ukraine needs it, but it's also important because, as I've said before, it's really important to show Russia that the aid is still coming. So Russia doesn't think, hey, if we just hold out a little bit longer, you know, we'll be able to beat Ukraine just by hanging in there if everybody cuts off aid to Ukraine. So very important. They also signed a new deal on security cooperation. The newly announced aid package includes air defense equipment, anti-tank weapons, long-range missiles, and training for Ukrainian soldiers. Regarding U.S. aid, as you guys know, it's being held up by the U.S. Congress. Republicans are refusing to finance aid to Ukraine until Democrats agree to some measures that they don't want, that the Republicans want on border security, that the Democrats think are too extreme. Thank you, Napoleon. Zelensky said today, thank you, Critter, for the TikTok gift. Zelensky said today that he is, listen to this, I am viewing this with more positivity than in December. I think we will get it, he said about American aid. That means it sounds like Biden or somebody talked to Zelensky and said, we think we'll get a deal. Or maybe even some Republicans in Congress who are the good guys. I mean, Lindsey Graham's an idiot, but Lindsey Graham's a good guy when it comes to Ukraine, right? Maybe some of them talked to him and said, no, we're going to work out a deal. But it's interesting that Zelensky is saying, I'm much more positive on getting a deal because I got to tell you, publicly, there's no reason to think we're any closer to a deal. Absolutely no reason to think so. Oh, Killer, you just confirmed my theory. Remember, mods, I told you how the trolls, if you let them go after 2 or 3 comments, you would see that they're actually trolls. Killer, you went and proved my point. Angel got its wings. No, I've been doing online communities since 1995, and one of the things you learn sort of early on is if you're not sure if someone's a bad guy, basically, we say trolls in internet parlance, meaning someone who's there just to be a troublemaker. They literally just want to throw bombs and be rude, and it's honestly Iran in the Middle East, right? I just want to cause chaos, right? And I always tell them, if you aren't sure with the first comment the person writes, let them write 2 or 3 more. They will not be able to control themselves, and you will. And the guy just did. They will cross a line by the 3rd comment, and you're gonna go, okay, okay. Oh, honey, really? Russia's one of the strongest countries in the world. You cannot defeat him. You know that? Oh, honey. Russia is not one of the strongest countries in the world. Russia, as John McCain famously said, is a gas station with nuclear weapons. They're a group of people that were forced together by a dictatorial government, and all they've got going for them is oil. And that's about it. They got some minerals and stuff too, some natural gas, but oil is about it. If Russia were the 2nd strongest country in the world, why the heck are we on day 687 of this war with little old Ukraine that Russia was supposed to win in the first week? The first week, Russia was supposed to win the war. It's been 2 years. The war started February 24th, guys. It's January 12th. We are almost at the 2-year mark of this war. Now, it ain't going great for Ukraine, but it ain't going great for Russia either. They're pretty much kind of at a standstill. They're at a standstill. But if Russia were winning this war, Russia would have won the war 2 years ago. Russia is having a hard time. Actually, I've also got some good news on a couple airstrikes the Ukrainians did today. Or not the airstrike, but what, some other attacks the Ukrainians did today. Russia's not doing well. Ukraine's not doing well either. But neither party's doing well. But again, when you've got David versus Goliath, and both of them are having a hard time, that suggests Goliath has a problem, and David's doing damn well. Even though David may not win. That's really impressive how David's doing, and it's really embarrassing how Goliath is doing. And that's really the main point with the Russians. It is embarrassing how badly the Russians have done in this war. Well, bottom line is, imagine what would happen if the Russians actually took on the West. They love to talk about war with the West. Thank you, Annette. Their worst nightmare is going to war with NATO because they're having a very difficult time beating Ukraine. It's not, I mean, as much as we say, how will Ukraine beat Russia? How will Russia beat Ukraine? I mean, it still is kind of just like, it really is kind of a stalemate. Imagine if they were fighting us. You know, anyway. All right. At least as of when this was written, maybe in the last hour or so, but up until late this afternoon, Russia did not carry out any airstrikes against Ukraine today, which is very weird. I don't know. Does anybody know, actually, any of the Ukrainians out there, did they finally do any airstrikes like in the last couple hours? Because this was as of a couple hours ago. They hadn't done any, which was very strange. And I don't know, again, whether they're trying to save the weapons, save the missiles, so they can do kind of, you know, more later. I thought I read in the end they might have done a little bit more for Kharkiv. I see some people saying drones, maybe, Mike is saying. But apparently it wasn't much, which was very interesting. Let me pull up a little more here. Oop, hang on a sec. All right, airstrikes. Oh, this was interesting. So this was good news for Ukraine. So this is a story via the Telegraph. But they were summarizing, and I frankly like the way they summarized it, so I will read it to you. The Institute for the Study of War, which is that defense think tank I've told you guys about before. They're located here in Washington, D.C., and they're a really good defense think tank, ISW, Institute for the Study of War. They do a nice daily summary, kind of thick, and like a lot of good information about Israel and Gaza, and also a separate one about Ukraine and Russia. So it's worth, if you really like the geeky side, like getting a lot of data, they're fun to check out every day. So listen to this via the Telegraph. Ukraine is inflicting significant losses on Russian forces attacking its bridgehead over the Dnipro. Now, I'm going to go, thank you, Sonor, for the gift. I will read that a little bit more of it in a second, but to show you where we're talking about. We are talking about this area here. Basically, just to remind folks, thank you, Christine. Yep, lots of gifts. Thank you, Ellie. All the gifts come because I'm showing the map. I'll have to show the map more if you're giving gifts. Thank you, guys. Just to remind you of where we are. Russia invades in 2014 and steals Crimea. Thank you, Marie. And steals Crimea. Then they invade 2 years ago, and Russia, well, they take all of this, but they took even more. They took a lot of this up here, and the Ukrainians forced them out. So basically, Ukraine got back half of the land that Russia took after the initial invasion 2 years ago, right? But the land Russia still controls is all of this down here and all of this, boop, 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 and along the river, basically. South of the river is Russia, north of the river, Ukraine. Obviously, south of the river isn't Russia. It's Ukraine, but south of the river is controlled by Russia, okay? Well, the Ukrainians basically had kind of a bridgehead. They still do down here. By a bridgehead, I mean they crossed the river, and they were able to control some land and keep some troops there and use it as a base for more operations, and the Russians have been unable to dislodge them. I'm trying to remember when, was it last November maybe? I'm trying to remember when the Ukrainians established the bridgehead, but it's been several months now. Well, what's going on is the Russians are trying to throw the Ukrainians out, and they're not succeeding. And according to Institute for the Study of War, they're taking significant damages. The Russians are, which is great. Thank you, Annie. Listen to this. Ukraine is inflicting significant losses on Russian forces attacking its bridgehead over the Dnipro River. The Institute for Study of War said Russia's attempts to push Ukrainian troops back over the river are failing because of persistent command and communication problems, causing a large number of Russian casualties. It cited multiple reports from Russian bloggers claiming that air defense units have to wait for permission from their superiors to fire on Ukrainian drones, helicopters, and airplanes, allowing the aircraft to strike their targets at will. That's insane. Okay, so basically, the Russians in the area, when they see Ukrainian drones, aircraft, or helicopters, they can't fire at them. They've got to call for permission. And if permission doesn't come, they can't fire. I mean, I can't even think. All I can think of is maybe the Russians are having so much trouble with shooting down their own aircraft that they've told them, I don't want you drunk idiots shooting anything, right, until you get permission and we verify that it's, because otherwise, who else is it going to be? Okay, if a drone is, think about it. I mean, I've got to be right about this, right? If a drone is coming, a helicopter is coming, or a fighter jet is coming, and it's coming, by the way, here. it's only coming from one of two places, Russia or Ukraine. That's it. And if they're saying, we don't want you firing at it unless we tell you, that means that they're afraid of these guys somehow accidentally shooting their, exactly as user 57 just said, shooting down their own stuff. That's insane. Now, yes, Alexandra says Russia has twice the number of drones that Ukraine has, and that's bad. But I'm just saying that in general, it's shocking that the Russians are so freaked out about their own people shooting everything out of the sky. So anyway, it's causing a lot of problems for them because they can't, they aren't allowed to shoot. This is great news, actually. There's a little more here. Russian commanders also reportedly take several hours to approve artillery strikes and require units to send target coordinates and video or photo confirmation of targets before approving strikes. Okay. Military folks, help me out here. Is this what it sounds like, that they're terrified of these guys shooting their own people? It's got to be, right? I mean, it's absolutely got to be. I mean, it takes several hours for them to do an artillery strike because they've got to get approval, and you've got to send not only the coordinates, but photo or video confirmation of the target before you do the strike. How's that for wild? I know Callum should be with us tonight. Callum said he couldn't necessarily be here every night, but that is hilarious. The Vital Bridgehead was first established by Ukrainian Marines in November and is held ever since. Okay, it was November. No, that's great. See, but that's the kind of stuff that's good news. Now Solak raises now that's interesting. Solak raises a very interesting point on TikTok, which is, what if it's the matter of they're low on ammunition and they don't want them firing unless they're sure it's a high-value target? That's interesting. That's very interesting. Now, that's supposed to be the Ukrainians, not the Russians that are low on ammunition. I mean, we've always been wondering about the Russians. Wow. Oh, is there new? I didn't see the video. Darren says there's new video out, video he's just seen at least, showing the Russian hypersonic missiles being shot down by the Ukrainians. Interesting. Now, we know that a lot of them have been shot down using Patriot missiles. I don't recall seeing video of the shoot down. That would be pretty cool, but I've not seen that. Yes, we did know about that. Let me do a little bit more news here, guys, and then we'll do the questions. Thank you, Stevie, for the heart. Let me see here. Ukraine requires more attack aircraft, including jets to support infantry and planes to fire long-range missiles, according to the ground forces commander doing an interview with Reuters. Per the Kyiv Independent, a Russian manufacturer of Orlan drones and other military use equipment have dodged sanctions in order to obtain foreign-made components, successfully increasing production of drones. So that's bad. The Russians have been able to get around the sanctions in order to increase their drone production. Davos, which is the big economic forum that happens every year for all the rich, snobby people. Davos will host the 4th Ukraine Peace Formula meeting on January 14th. That's in just 2 days, where over 80 delegations are expected to participate. I believe this is, though, that ongoing international meeting they're having. Remember, they had one, maybe Norway, it was in the Baltic states. They had one in Saudi Arabia, one of the meetings on Ukrainian peace, the ones that they don't invite the Russians to. The third one, I think they just had, it didn't go well, and this would be the 4th one in Davos. 2 other stories, a feel-good story. A black bear, actually Callum can tell us if this is, oh, he's not here tonight. Shoot, we've got a Scotland story. Callum. Oh, there you are. We have a Scotland story, Callum. A black bear that survived the war in Ukraine has successfully been rehomed at a zoo in Scotland. Five Sisters Zoo, what a name for a zoo, Five Sisters. Five Sisters Zoo in West Calder, West Lothian, has rescued and rehomed an Asiatic black bear named Yampil from the village of Yampil in Ukraine. Ukrainian soldiers discovered an abandoned zoo in the village when they arrived in July 2022, 5 months after the Russian invasion. Out of nearly 200 animals at the zoo, Yampil, the bear, was one of the only ones to survive the invasion. I'm not sure how the Brits organized this. They must have reached out to the Ukrainians, and the Ukrainians said, obviously, I think they said, yeah, we have no way to take care of the bear right now. They lifted the bear to Scotland. He was suffering. Yampil is the way they're writing it in English. Yampil. So probably, well, that's how you'd pronounce it in Ukrainian. I don't know how you'd write it, with a ya, maybe. Yampil, or Yampil. I always pronounce things, the wrong stress in Ukrainian. But they did say that a shell had landed near the bear's enclosure, and when they got to the bear, it had a concussion. And the final thing the story said, which was really sad, is apparently bears, like people, can suffer from post-traumatic stress. So they're hoping that now that it's in a safe enclosure, especially if it can go into to hibernation for the winter, they're hoping it'll be enough to kind of heal the bear. They said had it gone 5 days more, the bear probably would have died. But very wild. I know, wouldn't it be neat to see? But it's the Five Sisters Zoo. And again, my guess is they're probably going to have cameras on it because I don't think they'd want people to see it, because if the thing is like post-traumatic stress, they wouldn't want a lot of people and everything else. But check it out. Near Edinburgh, check it out. That'd be kind of cool if you guys can go. At least if they're even doing video footage or something just to go. Anyway, that was neat. Finally, Michael Weiss has a story. Michael Weiss is a very good defense, foreign, national security journalist based out of LA now. He's very good. Michael Weiss reported tonight, he said there's a wild story kicking around in Russian naval circles. And Weiss is very good, so I believe him on this stuff. There's a wild story kicking around in Russian naval circles about an incident that occurred this week on board the PM-82, a Russian repair vessel somewhere in the Mediterranean. The captain of the ship drank himself into delirium, had a stroke, and died on board. And apparently the Russian Navy brass are so freaked out about the story getting out there that it's like causing panic in the Russian Navy because they don't want this impression of their Navy being so unprofessional. And as Michael said, well, story's out there, but I thought that was kind of fun, that kind of wild. The captain of the ship got so drunk that he went delirious and had a stroke and died on the ship. Woof. Anyway, all right. Let's do Q&A and all of that. Our questions, your guys' comments. I see Itchy Man is asking about my view on the attack on the Houthi rebels. We can start with that. We've also got Ukraine. Please do remember, guys, please keep the gifts coming. Like I said, I do this for free. I do it full time. Quite literally, I am able to do this because your guys' gifts pay my bills. So please help. I appreciate it with the gifts. Also, if you want, you can go and become a monthly subscriber, which gives you access to our weekend shows Saturday morning, among other things, and our auction. Well, most of them give you access to the auctions over in Discord, et cetera, which I've got to set up again. Thank you, Jetta. But yeah, so I talked at the beginning of the show. We can maybe talk again to get the Q&A rolling here about the Houthi rebels. And basically, I am all for the attack on the Houthi rebels last night. Thank you, Bob West. The Houthis are terrorists. They literally, they were officially listed as a terrorist organization until 2022. Biden took the listing off, I think, as a gesture of friendship or whatever. Didn't go very far, with the Houthis, but nonetheless, they have since November been 27 attacks or so that they've launched on commercial ships right off of Yemen. And again, I'm going to get a map. Maybe tomorrow I'll remember to print this for you guys. The map of a really, actually, I've got it right here. I wonder if I can. Hang on. Where is it? I actually have a map I grabbed from. Oh, come on. Shoot, I had a really good map here. Now I'm not going to find it. Shoot. I had a good map here that I thought I grabbed from BBC or somebody. Let me see if there's a chance that I've still got it here in my computer memory. No. Oh, shoot. Oh, it was the Washington Post. Yeah. I had a good, oh no, wait, maybe I do have it here. I have a good Washington Post. Anyway, I'm going to try to print this for you all. But basically, thank you. Who's the gift there? Thank you, Martin. Basically, the Houthis are a terrorist group. They have been, thank you, happy Friday. They have been fighting against commercial shipping. They say they're only attacking the Israelis, but they're not. They're attacking all commercial shipping going in the area. Basically, randomly, we're talking randomly sending they're defending their territory. Oh, we have a troll pretending to be, not German. What is that? The Houthis are only defending their territory. Well, if their territory is international commercial shipping lanes and they have to defend it by shooting down tankers and boats carrying goods for, toys for children, okay. But no, they're terrorists. And they've been attacking international commercial shipping. They're trying to shut down the shipping lanes. They claim Thank you, Joe. As if this would make it okay. They claim they're only going after Israeli ships. I don't think they've attacked one Israeli ship. They're basically going after everybody else's ship. And what they did on Tuesday was finally the last straw. They went and they attacked they just fired randomly at a commercial shipping lane and shot cruise missiles and drones, trying to shut down international shipping in the area. The thing that's so important, if you look at the map, you'll see it's kind of going near Africa, the Persian Gulf. 15% of all world commerce goes by Yemen in this path. 30% of international shipping goes in this path, okay? So it's a big deal. It's a big deal. And as Alexandra just said, they're Iranian proxies. They're basically doing a lot of this on behalf of Iran, which is very true as well. So Iran is basically having them do it to just kind of be a PITA, really. In any case, so yeah, there's no choice but to attack them. They're trying to take down commercial shipping. They're terrorists. They're terrorists attacking internet. I mean, literally, there's no way to stop this. You know, there's no way to stop it other than taking out either taking out enough of their weapons that they say, okay, you know, we don't want you to attack us again, or you take out enough of their weapons that they're not able to attack again. But that's right. They're the ones that held a shipping crew hostage last month. And by the way, the crew they held hostage, they weren't exactly Israelis. That wasn't what was going on. Hey, I'm going to see here. Where is this? I'm trying to see. Where is this, John? I'm trying to look here, like I said, so I can scale to fit. Oh, wrong way. Oh, thank you, Shane. I'm trying to get this so I can get my little position. Oh, here we go, layout. There we go. All right, scale to fit. There we go. All right. All right, I'm going to try printing this just for fun and see if there's any chance that this works, guys, okay? Of course, with my luck, it'll come up black and white or something. Printer settings, let's see. Don't do black and white. All right, let's do color. Let's try it. All right, we're going to print this and see what comes up on my printer. Although I should print it with photo paper. I'll do that another time. But just because I like to show you the map, because it really is interesting to look at it and you go, okay. Like you just sort of get a better sense of what's where. I am worried what they'll do to retaliate. The problem is they're already attacking, right? I mean, it's very much like Russia attacking Ukraine when people were like, oh, but what will the Russians do if we get involved? But the Russians are already at war. And yeah, we don't have a choice. Though they could go nuts. They could try to bomb Saudi Arabia. Is it still coming? Map is still coming. When the map comes, I'm going to show you, because they were showing on the news tonight, like some of the area that the Houthis had attacked before in Saudi Arabia, but their missile range is not bad. But, you know, Houthis can't fight sleep. It's nothing to worry about too much in honesty. What do you mean? Nothing to worry about how they could respond? Well, Kellum, is there any chance they could hit our ships? I mean, I know there's always a chance, but I mean, our defenses so good on our ships that it would be very, very, very difficult, I'm assuming, for them to hit us? I'm assuming that's the case. I'm going to put the microphone down while we wait for Callum to ask and answer, and I grab the printout of Yemen. It's not bad. Yeah, printout's not bad. Okay. Not a bad printout. All right, let me pull this up and show you guys. Anthony. Thank you for that, Anthony. Appreciate that. Anything's impossible, not very feasible. That's what I was thinking. Like, it's possible, but it's on like a NATO ship. I have a better chance of dating Marilyn Monroe. That would be no. A NATO ship, yes. So, all right. Here is the map, all right, just to give you guys a sense, because I really do think it's hard when you don't have a map, okay? Up here is Israel, the dark color, the gold color here. Suez Canal. Suez Canal is... You've got the Mediterranean here, Turkey, Greece. Greece is over here, right? So you guys know where Greece is. Here's Turkey, Russia, Ukraine up here. Suez Canal is how, if you want to go like from the Mediterranean and you want to go to Eastern Africa, or even better, you want to go over to Saudi Arabia, you want to go over to Iran, you want to go to India, which is India's over here, right? You either can go all the way around Africa like this, or take the shortcut and go through the Suez Canal, Red Sea, the Gulf of Aden, I think it's called here, and then voila, You're now on the eastern coast of Africa. You can go to Iran. You can go to India. You cut through. Well, when cutting through the Suez Canal, which Egypt controls, the Houthis, which control, here's Yemen down here, and the Houthis control this part of Yemen, the stripes here. When the ships were coming by here or over here, they were being shot at by the Houthis. And that's why it's a problem. So they're in a perfect position to really cause, especially right here as the map shows, to cause a lot of trouble for international shipping. Well, if they're able to stop international shipping here, what happens? The ships have got to go the long way around Africa, right? It's a hell of a trip rather than going zoop and cutting through. That's why it's, oh, I didn't pick up my microphone. Sorry about that. Thanks, Poppy. That's why it's such a big deal. I speak loudly enough that hopefully you can hear anyway, but that's why it's such a big deal. Oops, upside down. Now, in terms of their range, I was seeing CNN was showing earlier that previously they were able to hit like maybe here in Saudi, like they're down here, up here in Saudi Arabia, over here like United Arab Emirates. So they were able to, I think that maybe, is that Bahrain? No, that's Qatar probably. In any case, they were able to hit like this kind of a range. So they probably could also go after shipping in that kind of a range too, a little bit farther, right? Can't really hit Israel very well. Israel's up here. You know, West Bank, Gaza is a little blip right here, so a little bit harder for them. But that gives you a sense, at least looking at the map, and especially if you see a larger map, that you zoom out and you see Africa, you'll go, ah, okay, right. I'd have to go all the way around Africa, instead of going choop and cutting right through, right? Okay, good. You can hear fine. That's good. Hey, Denise, good to see you in Kyiv. Hope you guys are fine there. Terry says, do you think the coalition will attempt to reinstall the sectarian Yemeni government? Oh, God. Terry, I'm going to, like, fly off a bridge like Monty Python with that question. I have no idea. I have no idea. Yemen, I will not admit to being a Yemen expert. I have not gotten up to speed on the politics and the war and all that kind of stuff with the Saudis and everything else. So I have no idea. So, sorry. That's the kind of question my friend Marion would ask. I always say, actually, Marion's in town today. I should have made you stay, Marion, and do a special show for me talking about Russia. We keep wanting to do that. Oh, did the Houthis attack a Russian oil tanker? That's funny. That's funny. Anyway, what else, guys? What else? Yeah, terrorist attacks, of course, are a concern. Of course, you know, U.S., U.K. So, again, there's just no choice. These guys are attacking international shipping lanes. It's like the Iranians did, like we said, during the Gulf War. I guess you guys said it was the second Gulf War, when they were going after oil. And they are trying to strangle the world economy as some kind of... Honestly, it reminds me a bit like the Palestinian protesters in the U.S., where they're kind of doing stupid, crazy things. I mean, regardless of if you agree with them or not, doing stuff like shutting down people going to the airport on Christmas, which they did in Chicago. You know, so crazy stuff like that doesn't make sense, right? And they're kind of doing the same thing. They're just trying to sow chaos, and they're claiming they're doing it on behalf of the Palestinian people. But they're definitely they're definitely terrorists. I mean, they're terrorists. Iran seized a Greek oil tanker in the Strait of Oman. I did see that Iran had seized another ship in the last day. I didn't see that was a Greek. Yet again, not Israeli, you know. I saw that, mods. I'm assuming the person did something else that pissed you off. That's all right. What else? Would the U.S. support Britain in taking back the Suez Canal? The Egyptians stole. I mean, you know, first of all, I mean, I doubt Britain would do it, and I doubt America would do it. I mean, if put it this way, for the Brits to take back the Suez Canal, something big would have to happen, and something so big would have to happen that maybe the U.S. would do it with you, because Britain wouldn't do it unless it was something huge, right? And if it were something huge, typically we'd be your ally. So, I mean, sure, if it got to that point, but I have a hard time believing how it would get to that point. That's the problem. You know, but generally speaking, unless you elected a Trump or something, your government, we're going to be pretty much aligned with your government. So if your government were to do it, there'd have to be some huge reason why they did it. You know, somebody, I don't know. Helicopter. Yes, we hope helicopter is okay. Britain couldn't do it alone. I mean, I imagine it would be a big operation. Thank you, Sherry, for the gifts. Don't underestimate the Brits, I'm sure. What else we got there? What else, guys? Oh, man. I mean, how are you all feeling about this? Is this because I, as I said, I'm online so much during the day that I see a lot of the liberal members of Congress who are being crazy and angry about us attacking Yemen. Not Yemen, us attacking the Houthis, I should say. The Houthis are not Yemen. The Houthis are a terrorist group basically occupying a part of Yemen. They're not Yemen. But I wonder sometimes, like, you know, a lot of you disagree with me on the Palestinian thing. What I mean is on the Israel thing. You know, I think a lot of you are more pro-Palestinian than I am. But on the Yemen thing, do you think, oh my God, how dare we attack the Houthis and blow them up? Or is this the kind of thing you go, yeah, I kind of get why we would need to do this? Just curious, because clearly, like, the activists are trying to make it the same thing. Like I said, there were literally Palestinian activists in New York today protesting on behalf of the Houthis. It was like, whoa, that's insane, you know? No, that's what I'm assuming. I'm assuming this is the thing where people get it. Yeah. But I will tell you, the trolls are doing a very good job of, Callum, I'm pro-Palestinian, but I'd have ordered the same attack. Yeah, no, exactly. That's fair. Annette says, I want to learn the facts first. It's hard to know that, but that's a fair point. That's a fair point. You know, I wouldn't want you giving an opinion on a military attack if you felt like, look, I want to know more. That's a very smart, mature approach. So good for you. No, the U.S. sticks its nose everywhere, except it's now the U.S., the Brits, Bahrain, Australia, the Netherlands. It's a lot of people, you know? Oh, thank you, Cheryl, for the jellyfish. Appreciate that. Thomas Walsh, I'm a liberal Democrat myself and can't stand those non-interventionist idiots. Both the squad, the Dems here and there, and the non-interventionist Republicans. Yeah, no, I agree. I'm not sure why it took this long to strike Yemen. David Newsham says, I agree, David. Now, I was telling you at the beginning. So there was supposedly a Sky News story that said that Biden gave the Houthis a heads up because he wanted to make sure they weren't surprised and he wanted to give them time to, like, be safe and everything. And the Houthis reportedly hid some of their weapons and stuff because they knew we were coming. I haven't seen the original story to confirm this. It will piss me off if that's true, because that's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. But I will say that, I mean, I shouldn't even report it as hearsay. Let me look here and see if I can Google. But somebody was saying Sky News. I did not see it on Sky News. Let me see. Oops. Hold on. Biden, Houthis, heads up attack, maybe? No. I don't know. I'm not necessarily seeing it. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know if it's true or not. Yeah. I mean, again, it's I just hope it's not. I'm not going to go on a Biden rant until I know it's true. I hope it's not true. Supposedly it was Sky News. It was like a Sky News Arabia site that was in Arabic, which had me a little suspicious. Is that Sky News? Like, do they have an Arabia website? Like Arabia, but it was like Sky News Arabia, but it was in Arabic, which is weird. Callum says, I thought that attack was confirmed before it was the news we're talking about it. I'm not sure what you mean by that. What do you mean by that? Actually, let me look on TikTok, because it might be there. It might be on TikTok. Let me see. I don't know that I've got it, though. I'd have to, like, beep-a-deep-a-deep-a-deep. Yes, okay, let me see here. It's Sky News Arabia in Arabic, which doesn't help. If my browser doesn't translate, I'm going to do it in Safari. Okay, my browser is not translating. Let me open Safari instead. Hang on a second here. All right, hopefully this will translate. Come on. Oh, come on. Copy. All right, let's see here, guys. If this translates, it better translate. Come on. Translation available. Okay, where is it? Oh, translate to English. There it is. Okay. Enable translation. Yes. Sources: America informed the Houthis ahead of the strike, and so they prepared. Sky News Arabia, Abu Dhabi. Okay. This is from Sky News, so who knows? Sources familiar with the matter told Sky News Arabia that the United States informed the Houthis ahead of carrying out airstrikes on their sites in Yemen. Carried out the strikes. The message is clear. The sources said the Houthis were reporting the strikes, apparently referring to the U.S. intention to minimize damage and not alert a reaction that exacerbates the escalation in the Gulf. In the same context, the Wall Street Journal, quoting a U.S. defense official and a source close to the Houthis, reported that before the strike, the Houthi militias had already transferred some important weapons and equipment while ballistic missiles were placed in hideouts in the densely populated city of Sana'a. Of course they did. They hit them among civilians like they do. Yeah. Yep. Well, so, if Sky News is correct, who knows? That's what Sky News is reporting. Although it's Sky News, so I don't know what it says. Sky News Arabia. So I'm assuming it's the Sky News Arabian version, right? Is that what you're referring to, David, specifically? Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, I think we'll wait and see if we get more confirmation on that. Oh, we'll wait for more confirmation. Oh. Yeah, see, because it wasn't on Sky News in the UK, it makes me a little suspicious. Yeah. Mike is asking if the pro-Russian trolls will try to affect the elections. Of course they will. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's their job. I mean, of course, absolutely, positively will. Yeah. So it was a fireworks show. That's it. No, well, who knows? Hopefully that was wrong. And it depends what the satellites are showing. What the satellites showed today about how well the attack went. And let's see what the Houthis do. I mean, thank you, Blue Ariel. I'm going to yawn at you guys again. Sorry. What else we got, though? I don't know. Wei Ray Cray is asking if China will attack since everyone's focusing on the Middle East. China is going to do what everybody else does. China isn't going to attack to take Taiwan until they're ready. And them being ready is going to depend on a couple different things. It's going to depend on their chance of success. Their chance of success will depend on A, how ready is China, and B, how ready is America? Well, and C, how ready is Taiwan, right? I mean, in order to figure out, should I attack, you say, can I win? Well, can I win is based on my weapons and my ability right now. Can I win is based on your weapons and your ability right now. Taiwan and America both, right? Super Hornet. It's based on your will. How much will the Americans get involved? Do I think they will or won't? It's going to be based on even if China could win, what's the cost in winning, right? Is it worth winning? Is it a Pyrrhic victory? Is it worth winning or, whatever? But all of that, this stuff going on right now plays into it because, sure, part of the calculation is, America's busy with Ukraine and the Middle East. That's good. They're busy. Two, that means they're spending more money and more weapons with America in the Middle East. That's great. They'll have fewer weapons to give to Taiwan. So that helps. But China has to sit there and say, are we ready yet? I mean, the estimates were China needed another 4 years or something, 3 to 4 years before they were ready to attack Taiwan. If those estimates are correct, China doesn't want to do it now because they're not ready. They may not win if they do it now. So they've got to. So I don't know. I'm not convinced if the estimates are correct that China isn't ready. Then I think China's not going to be stupid enough to attack. And let's face it, we're not in a full-fledged battle in the Middle East right now. I mean, we're helping Israel, but Ukraine we helped a lot, but we've still got a lot left. And Ukraine, we didn't use our Navy at all, for example. Our Navy, we hadn't used our Navy or our Air Force really for Ukraine. We'd be using those a lot against China. And they're still in pretty good shape because we weren't using them much against Ukraine. So, I wonder, Cliff Wolf says, isn't it the goal of Biden to end conflicts in Ukraine and Israel by starving off funds and just concentrate on Taiwan? Thank you, Barb. I don't think Biden would want to starve funds to Israel. That would not happen. Starving funds to Ukraine, interesting. This is why I think from the beginning, the Biden goal was, excuse me, I'm going to yawn at you guys a lot tonight. Oh, I'm tired again. The Biden goal was, we need to defend Ukraine, but have a negotiation fast. And if we can push Russia towards a negotiation in the first year or so, maybe year and a half, we can end the war and focus on Taiwan. And that's what they've been doing. They've been trying not to have the situation blow out of control, have Russia go nuclear, blah, 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 but also have Russia not win. And hopefully we can force Ukraine to settle by not helping Ukraine enough. And now we're in this weird situation where Ukraine's going, I don't want to settle. Why would I settle? You know what I mean? Now, 600 people just yawned around the world. Exactly. Don't even write that, because now you got me going again by even writing that. Don't say it. All right. There we go. I hit it. The mati. That's funny. Maybe I do. But I yawn every night. I'm just always very tired. Unless I've had mati for a few years. I've been tired for 3 years. It's possible. Anyway, what else, guys? What else we got? Remember, tomorrow morning we've got our show, 11 a.m. Eastern Time U.S. for the coffee chat for the monthly subscribers. Please do consider joining us. If you're not a monthly subscriber, look into it. I fear it might be sleep apnea. Look into it. You can do it by becoming a monthly subscriber on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, Ko-fi, TikTok. You just go to my profile, click the link that says like live membership. YouTube, you look for memberships as well. You can click the $ near the comment box and look for memberships. Lots of other things. Vlad, I hope Vlad's joining us. I don't know. Haven't heard anything from him. I mean, this week I heard from him. We chatted yesterday, but I don't know yet if he's coming. Oh. So we'll see. Hopefully he's coming. Brain needs oxygen, maybe. There, I'll breathe in. Get Russia to annex Outer Mongolia? What does that accomplish? What does that accomplish? Oh, boy. What else, guys? What else? Terry says, I do not envision China ever attacking Taiwan. China is a net importer of energy and food. They just could not endure the sanctions. That's the interesting question. I mean, China wants Taiwan. Thank you, Timothy. You know, the Russian sanctions, Russia may be getting around them and everything else, but it's a big deal, our economic relationship with China. Think of, my God, so much of what we import here. Now, it'll hurt us too, but it hurts China too. I'd say 90% of what we sell in this country is made in China. Maybe 80. It's a lot. That's a lot of money for China, and a lot of other Western countries joining in too. So I don't know. Let's hope China kind of wakes up and realizes this is never going to happen. And because of the chips too, there's no way we're going to let China take Taiwan. We'd sooner nuke Taiwan if that happened. I mean, it's just like, there's just no way. Thank you, Jeremy. Oh, the South Africa statement. Stooge, you really want me to get into that? That's controversial. Well, basically, South Africa goes to the International Court of Justice and accuses Israel of genocide. And the way the whole genocide stuff is set up, any country can go and accuse another because they want it. They want us to be on the side of stopping genocide, right? So South Africa goes, accuses Israel of genocide. Ironic, because South Africa has often been on the side of genocide. They gave this whole spiel of, we're a former colonial, subject and oppressed, and therefore we're on the side of the little guy. And people listed off like 5 different genocides in Africa that South Africa was on the wrong side of. Didn't do anything to help. Well, South Africa has pretty much been on Russia's side in Ukraine too, which is genocide. Putin's been indicted for war crimes that are our genocide. Stealing children from a war zone with the intent to make them your children is genocide. Anyway, so that's where South Africa's coming from. But just because South Africa is a hypocrite when it comes to genocide doesn't mean that their accusation is wrong, right? I mean, there's no. All I'm saying is, I'm just mentioning it because they are hypocrites, but that doesn't. You can be a hypocrite and you can still be right. So let's talk about the accusation. The problem with the accusation, I've talked about this before. Some people aren't going to like it, but this is the way it is. Genocide means trying to wipe out an entire group of people. Okay, The reason that stealing children in war zones and doing it in a mass way can be genocide is because you're literally trying to wipe out the country. When the Russians are stealing Ukrainian children, the charge, it is a war crime for sure, but it could amount to genocide, if it's systematic and is happening on such a large scale that the goal is to wipe out Ukraine's next generation, right? And by stealing the children and making them Russians. So it always comes down to or mass displacement. If you're trying to force, and again, you could potentially use this argument for Gaza, potentially, but the Serbs with Kosovo, where they were literally they were trying to force them all to leave, right? That's ethnic cleansing. That can be genocide because you're literally trying to wipe them out entirely. Barbara just said wiping out an identity, exactly. The problem you get with Gaza is it can be a war crime, what Israel's doing. Just on its face, it could be a war crime for a number of reasons. But you have to literally explain what Ukraine is doing in terms of, are they trying to wipe out all the Palestinians? I don't think they are. I think and I think it's pretty fair to say, what Israel's doing is they're trying to hit Hamas, and they don't really care how many civilians they take with them. Sorry for my Israeli friends. My gut tells me that. I'm not sure what the alternative is for Israel. I'm not sure what Israel could do that would kill fewer people because Hamas is hiding literally among the civilians. But nonetheless, I fear that Netanyahu's government doesn't really care how many civilians they kill. But does that mean Netanyahu's goal is to kill as many Palestinians as possible so he can wipe out all of Gaza? Bull. I don't believe that in a minute. If Israel wanted to kill as many Palestinians as they could, there would be a lot more dead Palestinians in Gaza right now if that was the goal. But 20,000, if the number's correct, is still a hell of a lot. But I'm not convinced it amounts to genocide because I don't think it's intentional. I think it's negligent. And there's a difference. And it's not the negligent killing of 1 million people. It's the negligent killing of 20,000 people. That's a lot, but there's 13 million Palestinians. There's 2 million Palestinians in Gaza. Well, 2 million people in Gaza. I think the number of Palestinians might have been 1 point something million, but still, let's say there's 2 million Palestinians. 20,000 people isn't that many. I am serious because we're talking about the law right now, 303. I don't care about your gut. I don't care about your anger. I don't care about your testosterone. I want your legal argument. We are talking about whether Israel is literally trying to wipe Palestinians off the face of the planet. For example, let me just turn a phrase. Is Israel trying to wipe all Palestinians away from the river to the sea? I don't think they are. If you were trying to wipe away an entire people from the river to the sea and that were your motto, that would be an example of at least a genocidal mindset, okay? But that's not it. Yeah, they're not. They are negligently killing people, and I don't think they care, the government, if they're killing innocent civilians. I'm not convinced that's genocide. I'm not convinced. And again, the problem is, some of you who are getting pissed about this, we're talking the law and we're talking a legal term. Genocide means something in the law. It can't mean something else because it's your team who's getting hurt. That's not the way it works. And unfortunately, there is a strong desire by Palestinian advocates to use the word genocide. Why? Because Jews are victims of genocide. That's why they want to use the term, because they want to turn it around on the Jews. What Callum just said, I think, could very well be correct. It's not genocide, but it's a war crime. It could very well be a war crime. Yes, it could be. Yeah. But that's the distinction I'm making. Thank you, Napoleon, because they were accused of genocide. I'm not convinced I don't think the genocide thing is going to stick at all. War crimes, that'll be interesting to see. And then if they are war crimes, will they go after Netanyahu? That's interesting. Well, the war crime comes down to, again, are you even trying not to kill civilians? You can't sort of be entirely insouciant and negligent about the death of civilians in war. You can't be. I mean, that would be, and on a large scale, that would be a war crime. I'd have to see the exact language. It's a good question. I have to see the exact language. Actually, Callum, you don't have it. You were looking at some of this stuff before. Does anybody have like the exact language of what sort of provision would be relevant in terms of civilian deaths. And again, not intentionally killing them, but negligently killing them, where basically you just don't care. You know? I know I'm remembering something previously, and I don't remember. That's why I was asking you. I don't remember previously what it was. I just don't remember. So thank you, Daniel. No question, though. Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate that. You don't have to ask a question, but I appreciate it. So anyways, but that's what it comes down to. Thanks, Callum. Callum's going to go look it up. But that's what it comes down to. You know. Well, but again, here's part of the problem you get too. Again, if you put on your legal hat, if you put on the legal hat, okay, you say, okay, is Israel killing them? Egypt is refusing to open its borders. If Egypt opens its borders, the Palestinian refugees could go. I mean, you get into sort of this weird situation of legally, are the Israelis killing them? The Israelis are certainly helping create a situation which is making food and everything be very bad, but at the same time, the Egyptians are doing it too. And there wouldn't be a food problem if Egypt would just open the border and the refugees could go. I mean, it's you still get to this question of, is it the intent or not to kill them? I'm not sure the intent is to kill them. And by the way, the other problem you still get to is what alternative the Israelis have. And that's a whole other question that I've raised, and they were talking about on CNN again. If you are going to say, as I was saying, you could possibly argue the Israelis have been negligent and caused these civilian deaths. What's the alternative? And I still have not heard a very good military alternative to what the Israelis should have done in Gaza that would have spared all these civilians. That's the problem. Everybody goes, I mean, I heard a Democratic congressman on TV, on CNN right now, go, more targeted attacks. And Jake Tapper was like, well, what do you mean, more targeted attacks? You know, I mean, you don't think they're going to, I mean, he didn't say this, but you don't think they're going to do targeted attacks against guys from Hamas if they know where they are? Why wouldn't they do that? You know, why wouldn't they do that? But that's the problem you get with this. If you're going to prove, bottom line, and this isn't just Israel, I mean, you know, Russia too. If you're gonna try to prove that what someone is doing is outrageous because they had a choice, you've got to show what that choice is. And you can't suggest that the choice with Israel is lay back, spread your legs, and die. Is not a choice to give to Israel. You know, just lay back and let these guys come and kill you and violate you. That's not a choice. So if Hamas, which is Palestinians, come in and commit horrific acts against Israelis, what should Israel do in responding militarily, if not what they did? And I've still not seen a really good answer. You know, and again, that's what Jake Tapper was pushing on CNN. He keeps pushing it too. He was pushing it. I mean, I noticed it before he mentioned it, but he's been pushing it too. What's the answer? You know? Yeah, but Terry, if you use deadly weapons, how is your intent anything but to kill them? Yeah, your intent is to kill Hamas in their tunnels with deadly weapons. Yes. Yeah? That doesn't mean your intent is to kill civilians. The U.S. kills civilians all the time. Every time. The U.S. killed civilians. We think we didn't kill any civilians in Yemen. There's a really good chance we killed some civilians in Yemen last night. Is that a war crime? Was our intent to kill civilians? No. Right? But we used deadly force. How is that not our intent to kill civilians? It's the same argument, right? Your intent is literally your intent. Your intent means, do you want to kill civilians? And did you have an alternative, which means you chose the way that you knew would kill more civilians simply because you didn't care. You had an alternative that would have killed fewer civilians. It would have worked just fine. And you didn't want to do it because you're happy killing civilians. Now you're entering war crime territory. Now you're entering even potential genocide territory, depending. But the genocide thing literally is systematically taking out an entire population. 20,000 people dying in a war is not genocide, guys. A lot more than that die in wars. But it very well could be a war crime. Words have meaning in the law, and words have meaning in politics, you know? I can look and see what South Africa said. I'll look it up. I don't think they wanted to kill civilians, though. I don't think they did. I think Netanyahu didn't care, which is still a war crime. All right, Callum sent me some language on Signal. Let me see, Callum. 1 second here. Sorry, it's booting up. 1 sec here. All right. Beep. Oh, that's Yamp. You sent me Yampil. Oh, there it is. You did find Yampil, though. That's cute. Protocol 1, thank you for the gift. Who's at Simon? Thank you. Please keep the gifts coming, guys. Thank you, Montserrat. 1977 Protocol 1 was adopted as an amendment to the Geneva Conventions prohibiting the deliberate or indiscriminate attack of civilians and civilian objects in international armed conflicts. That's a war crime. Thank you, Christine, for the gift, by the way. The attacking force must take precautions and steps to spare the lives of civilians and civilian objects as possible. There you go. That's what we're talking about. Thank you, Denise. And thank you, Adat. That basically you cannot, what was the word, indiscriminately attack or kill civilians. And you must take, well, it says as possible. In American law, we would often say reasonable. Like you should take reasonable steps. In other words, no one can expect you to take a step that costs $20 billion each attack or something, right? Because it's just impossible. But it has to be reasonable. But if a reasonable, like in America, we always use the reasonable man argument in law. Internationally, you'd say if the reasonable country would have opted to do it in a different way, then what you did is unreasonable, and therefore you could be guilty of basically not caring and negligently killing these people, which, as Callum pointed out, could be a war crime under the Geneva Conventions. Not necessarily genocide, though. Indiscriminate, exactly. Thank you, Lord Flash. And indiscriminate, by the way, though, it depends how you want to define it, though. Because indiscriminate, to me, means I don't care where the bomb goes, right? I could use more precise bombs, but I just don't feel like it. I want to save my precise bombs because I just don't care if we kill civilians, right? So again, it comes down to the issue of do you have a choice, and how reasonable is the choice? That's the thing. Oh, how cute! We suddenly had a Russian troll on YouTube. This was kind of fun, though, by the way, guys. A Russian troll just came on YouTube and tried to tie all this back to Ukraine. This is BS. This is all run by Ukraine. He's arguing that Ukraine, I guess, is running the whole attack on Gaza by Israel, which I was kind of like, oh, bravo, Russian troll, bravo. Unbelievable. Oh well. Anyway. Maeve, I'd want to see what first of all, surgical bombing. We need to see a lot more on that. I'm not going to believe it just because someone says, oh yeah, Israel's got the bombs and they could have done all of this without killing civilians. Okay, my first argument to you is going to be, okay, then why didn't they? If Israel could have done all of this with surgical bombs and it was really easy and affordable, why didn't they do it? Because they get their rocks off killing Palestinian babies? I don't buy that. You've got to have a good reason for why they did it then. That's why I think they did it, because Netanyahu doesn't quite care about the civilian casualties, but also it's not clear guys, name me another war where the people you're fighting are hiding among civilians. Let's not forget that, okay? I mean, it's easy for us to say how horrible it is that Israel's killing everybody. And again, I don't trust Netanyahu as far as I can throw him. But name me another freaking war where the enemy literally, first of all, did such a horrific attack, including burning babies, that they knew the response was going to be horrific, where they're literally hiding among civilians. Not Syria. Syria, you got the government, Callum. You've got the government of Syria, at least you can try to go after, right? Where's the Ministry of Defense in Gaza, right? I mean, these guys are hiding among Palestinians so the Palestinians die. Their goal is for Palestinians to die. And Palestinians are dying. I mean, I am still waiting. And again, the surgical thing, prove to me and I'll accept it. But I want to see a damn good analysis from somebody going, oh yeah, the Israelis have got these weapons, and they had this intelligence. Thank you, Proper Mike. And they easily could have taken out the Hamas leadership with these bombs, and they didn't do it because they wanted to blow up, I don't know, they wanted to blow up Palestinian babies. I think, no. I mean, I don't even know what that means. No. All I'm saying, guys, you got to prove it. You got to prove it if you're going to make the argument, Oh, Hamas did not do the Palestinians a favor at all. No, Hamas doesn't care about them. Hamas hates the Israelis and decided to use the Palestinians as a way of doing it. So they wanted Israel to attack the Palestinians. Of course they did. And that's why they're hiding among them. You know, I mean, it's horrible. It's horrible. No, anyway. No, maybe, Stooge. And maybe that's it then. Maybe that'll be the analysis. And if it's something independent, it'll be interesting to see. Right. If the International Criminal Court or ICJ does an analysis of what Israel's options are, you know? That's the question. I mean, what Yoni's saying, there's no argument or evidence to support the claim that Israel has a better option to operate. I've not seen one yet. I admit I'm uncomfortable with the civilian casualties. I don't trust Netanyahu. I have not seen any detailed explanation of what Israel's other option was, other than, as I said, lay back, spread yourself open and accept it. And that's BS. That's BS. I think a lot of the people making these arguments don't really care. I think, honestly, a lot of people don't care if Israel has a way of responding otherwise. I don't think they do. I think there's a lot of hatred for Israel. And I think the hatred was there before this attack happened, to be honest. Although the attack doesn't help. Thank you, Dudike, because, again, Israel may be screwing it up. I mean, as far as having options, but I'm still not convinced what the option is, you know? Turning off the water, but what do you mean turning off the water? You know? Well, and that's, look, the other problem too, this is an issue that you've never been able to, again, this is not new. This is an issue you've never been able to have a sane discussion about Israel in the Middle East. You know, the Arab-Israeli crisis, as we called it growing up. You could never have you could have a sane discussion. I mean, when I was in school, you had a sane discussion because we didn't have the crazies, right? But you could never have a sane discussion. So we're trying to have a sane discussion about what should have been done, what was done, was it reasonable, on a topic that 30 years ago jumped the shark. Thank you, Nathan. There was no way to discuss this topic publicly with people and have a normal discussion and a reasonable, logical discussion. So why people think that can happen now? There's no way. There's no way. You know. Thank you, Dave Lanik. Appreciate you saying that. Ukraine certainly has a better legal case against Russia. Yes, they certainly do. Yes. And because Russia's got a history of doing this. I mean, meaning Russia has a history of literally Russia's military strategy is kill as many civilians as you can. That's Russia's goal in the war. People like to say that about Israel because people just don't like Israel. But I think there's zero possibility that it's literally Israel's like, no. What we're doing in Gaza is now. Are there some of those ministers in Netanyahu's cabinet who might like to just kill every Palestinian in Gaza? Oh, sure. And they shouldn't be there. And when they made some of those horrific comments recently, they should have been fired. But Netanyahu cares more about his survival than he does. You know, I mean, Israelis would do themselves a huge favor getting rid of that guy soon because he doesn't help anything, you know? Oh, that's interesting. Craig Prescott says Israel in their defense today told the court that they keep a transcript of all orders to soldiers on the ground and that they are willing to make them available to the court. Definitely not genocide. That's interesting. No, that's interesting. Yeah. So, yeah. You know. Yeah, I mean, I hope he does. But he's so the wrong guy to have there. So the wrong guy. Well, Callum, Israel and the Palestinians both need to take real steps towards a two-state solution. The Palestinians have said no forever. And at some point, they've got to just, again, guys, there's agency here involved as well. The Arabs need to decide. I mean, I would say Arabs overall need to make some decisions about where they want to be in the world. And the Palestinians need to make it as well. And playing the victim like the Russians always do is only going to get you so far, you know? They were offered the opportunity multiple times and they said no because they wanted to, sound familiar? Wipe out the Jews. Sound familiar, guys? Something a lot of you didn't really care about, by the way, but nonetheless, they would rather eliminate Israel and kill everybody. Well, you know, maybe pressure needs to be on both sides, including them. You know? I don't know. I think a lot of terrorists. The thing is, somebody CJ asked, "Do you think terrorist organizations are working together or being directed by Iran?" The thing is, we recently had ISIS. ISIS recently blew up. Remember that funeral in Iran? So you've got some of these terrorist groups that hate each other. So Iran is helping coordinate some of the Iranian stooges, which would be like Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis, but not everybody, not everybody. Maybe a little bit more, guys, and then we'll go. It's been an hour and a half. Excuse me. I'm sure Netanyahu did prevent a two-state solution. I don't think Netanyahu wants a... Now, I will say this, again, Gaza isn't helping your argument for a Palestinian state. I mean, the problem is Israel's got to look out for its own security. Israel is not going to allow a Palestinian state to exist if the Palestinians can't rule the place without electing a terrorist group as government. I mean, my concern would be what happens if you have a Palestinian state and they do the same thing again? You get Hamas taking over and they decide just to kill everybody. I mean, but again, look at the Arab world overall. It's not exactly the shining beacon of democracy, unfortunately, and governance. But, Israel does have the right to deny Palestine a state. If course it does, because they're neighbors. You have the right to. If you had, if giving, Northern Ireland, if stopping the fighting in Northern Ireland would have imperiled Britain's survival, you would have never done it. And people would have said, but Callum, does Scotland have the right to deny Northern Ireland? Whatever. Right? Of course they do. If it's threatening your survival, you wouldn't do it. No moral argument of, well, international law, we should let countries do what they want, even if it threatens your survival. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. So, not going to happen. Stolen lands, please. Come on. I live on stolen lands. We all live on stolen lands. No, that argument's just so ridiculous. Stolen, by the way, by the United Nations. The United Nations is the one that created the state of Israel. So, if you're going to be upset about it, get upset at the world. No. The Palestinians have been offered a deal multiple times. They said no. Netanyahu, I don't think, wants a deal now, but it would be good to get the Israelis back on board to want a deal and the Palestinians to finally accept a deal, or the Palestinians need to accept that they're going to be the only group of refugees who stayed refugees forever because they refused to either join other countries or they refused to actually accept a state. But at some point, accept some agency in your own lives. I'm sorry at this point, Well, I don't know. I hope some people can govern themselves, but, man, anyway. All right. We're not going anywhere with this. We're not getting any benefit for where we're going with this, so we're fine. All right. I'm going to get going, guys. Thank you for joining us. Tomorrow morning, we've got our coffee talk for the paid subscribers, the monthly subscribers. So remember, TikTokers that are the SNN folks, join us at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, U.S. That's 11 a.m. Washington, D.C., New York time. For the rest of you, join us on Discord. I'll set that up tonight, hopefully. Thank you, guys, for the weekend wishes. But yeah, so Discord, all the rest of you go to Discord, and we'll be there too, Oh, that's funny, Stooge. Yeah. No, it's just ridiculous. I mean... well, that's a good point. Terry says, if you live on original Louisiana purchase lands, look, here's the problem. All lands are stolen lands. The only time it matters is if they were stolen recently. I mean, that's what it comes down to, right? If somebody stole your land recently, then you're having, like Russia. Russia recently stole Ukraine's lands. They've got a legitimate fight. In 100 years from now, if Russia still's got that land, Ukraine can kiss it goodbye. Right? And that's the difference. We stole land from the Native Americans. Yeah. But guess what? It's been too long. They're out of luck. Now, they may get support from the government. They may win things in court, but they're not getting their land back. That's not going to happen, right? We're not giving them back New York. It's not going to happen. So that's the issue. Now, but Callum is correct. Callum says you could argue Israel was stolen Palestinian land recently, not from 100 years ago, but you could argue, for example, the settlers in the West Bank. They're taking land right now. That's new land. You've got a much better argument, right? And here's the other problem you got. If Israel took land, which they did, because the Arabs attacked them and the Palestinians attacked them and tried to wipe them out, and really dumb move, 3 different times, I think now, that the Arabs decided to attack the Israelis and lost, and Israel won spoils of war, I have zero sympathy for that line being taken. You attacked stupidly, and you lost the war. And the guy you attacked took some land, you ain't getting that back. Now, maybe you should get that back in the name of peace. And by the way, the Israelis gave back, right, a lot of land. They gave back Gaza. They gave back Sinai to Egypt. There was a lot of land that were Israelis, well, West Bank, I mean, in some ways too, right? But you've got the settlers being shitheads. Sorry, I shouldn't use swear words. You've got the settlers being idiots too. But I'm just saying, like, in terms of, it depends how the land was taken and when it was taken. And that matters. But the idea looking back to 1948, I got news for you guys. It's almost 100 years. Nobody freaking cares what happened in 1948. Nobody cares. And by the way, in 1948, the United Nations came in and divided up the land. You don't have any grievance, really. You really don't. It wasn't like the Israelis came in and took the land, the Jews, the United Nations. And by the way, if we're going to give land back, are all the Arab states going to give the land back to the Jews they took? The Arabs kicked out all their Jews when Israel was formed. Right? Giving all of that back? Oh, they're Jews. We don't do that, right? Right? I mean, no, I mean, but they should, but it's been 100 years. I'm really not sure there's much to do there. I do need to do more Sasha vids. No, but as I said, it's all very complicated though. You've got to look at when it happened and how it happened. Thank you, Inbar. Appreciate that. But that's why I said, like, I'm not sympathetic to the settlers. The Jewish settlers are playing games. It's recent, and I don't think they have clean hands. So I think, like, it's recent, but also they're playing games. Whereas I don't think the Jews were playing games in 1948. They did it they went through the United Nations, right? The United Nations did it. The United Nations established Israel and the Palestinian state. It was the United Nations that did it. The Jews did it the right way, and the Arabs didn't like it. Well, you effed around and you found out, because you decided to declare war instead of accepting it, and then you declared war again, and you declared war again, and each time you got your butt kicked. Thank you, Joe. And now there have been multiple peace proposals that the Palestinians could have accepted that would have given them, what was the last one? Like, it would have given them 97% of what they wanted. I mean, my God, at this point, seriously, the question becomes, do you hate Jews more than you love your own people? But my God, the Palestinians would have, this is what I'm saying, like, at some point, take some agency in your own lives, But and this is why the Gaza thing pisses me off too. Oh, they're so innocent. It was the Hamas who did it. They voted for Hamas. Doesn't mean you kill them, but let's stop always pretending with the Palestinians that they're babies or something, that they're not responsible for themselves. My God, Everyone's got their biases. Everyone does. Doesn't make me biased because I disagree with you. It doesn't make you biased because I disagree with you. But anyway. All right. Anyway. All right, guys. That's all you're getting tonight. Go home angry or go drink or something. I don't know. Take Liverpool. I don't know enough about bias. Exactly. Callum, but Callum, you're never wrong. That's different. All right, guys. I am going now for final. It's 1 hour and 37. I'm going to have a little snack, and then, exactly, and I'm not going to yawn, and I'm going to try to play my Xbox again, even though I can barely see the screen because the writing is so small. It's driving me crazy, but I'm going to try again. All right, guys, have a good night. Like I said, I'll see you tomorrow for our show for the paid subscribers at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, U.S., Saturday morning, okay? I'm playing Baldur's Gate. So I will be back at it. Well, not reading glasses. I need glasses. It's funny. My eyes, I had cataracts, so my eyes were fixed for 15 years, and finally my eyes are getting a little bit worse again. And it's because you can tell, too, like, people have noticed it the last year. They're like, oh, you're starting to squint. I can't believe my eyes are starting to go bad again. I'm like, I really don't want to have to get glasses again. Just because it's a pain, But I'm probably going to have to. Live stream, I know. I'm so bad at it, though, I'd be embarrassed to live screen right now. How old am I? 60. All right? There. I'm admitting it. But I wore glasses forever. And finally, I had cataracts. and my eyes were fixed because of the cataracts. They fix it. So for the last, like, I don't know, 15, 18 years, whatever it was, or 13 years, I haven't had to wear glasses. It's been wonderful. I mean, reading glasses, but not like distance glasses. It's been wonderful. And it's only beginning again slightly right now, just enough that, like I said, to read the TV is getting a little difficult, which is pissing me off. So we don't say 60. I got cataracts like, God, 13 years ago, maybe? Something crazy. Maybe 13? Yeah. Reading glasses doesn't help me with the TV, though. But yeah, I got cataracts very young. They didn't even know I had. I mean, we couldn't figure out what it was. Literally, my vision was changing. One eye, the color was changing in my eye, meaning the way I saw things, colors were changing. And I was like, this is crazy. Went to the doctor, didn't believe me. All sorts of horrible tests. And finally, after all sorts of horrible tests, one doctor goes, you got cataracts. I said, get out of here. He goes, no, I can see it. No one else saw the cataract. Well, excuse me. The other person that saw the cataract, a doctor in France, like 3 or 4 years before, I had a retinal detachment. That's one of my stories I'll tell you someday. My retinal detachment in France, and had to have surgery when I was in Paris. Had to stay. It was very fun, though. I got to stay for 3 months. And that doctor goes, you've got cataracts. I said, what do you, and at this point, I must have been like 45, 43. I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, no. He goes, he goes, you've got them in both eyes. It's very small. The one eye that was first, I don't know which he was right. He goes, oh, this eye's a little more developed. He goes, it's going to be a long time till it bothers you, but you've got them. And I said, really? He was the only one that saw them. Yeah. So yeah, no, I had to get the surgery, and the surgery fixes your vision. So your distance vision is almost perfect. And it was almost perfect for years. But as you get older, things can still change. So my both eyes have started to change a little. I also think it's dryness. So I've been using the eye drops because, your eyes get dry and the vision can change too. It's really annoying though. But I may have to get not contacts. I may have to get glasses again. I'm kind of annoyed. The other thing too is my eye doctor was saying surgery when you get older, they don't recommend, because even though the prescription isn't much like not cataract surgery, but the LASIK, he said, once you start approaching 60 and older, the LASIK, you can have much more complications with dryness and stuff. So he was like, I wouldn't, because I was like, can I just do the LASIK and fix them? He said, oh, I wouldn't do that. I was like, why? He said, complications with dryness. I was like, no. So what do you do? No, I'll have to get, I've got the reading glasses for this, which are fine. I do this and I can read fine. But for the TV, it's annoying because it's big and it's far. I'm going to have to get glasses again. Oh, well, I guess I can bring out, I'll have to show you guys sometime, the really cool glasses I got in France. They're Danish glasses that I bought in Paris years ago. And literally the year after I bought them is when I got cataracts and I didn't need them. And they were like $250 glasses. I never spend that on glasses, but just, the frames. The frames were, and they were those really cool frames that are like one color with a little bit of a color behind, and they were red. They're like red with a little red. They're very cool. But I think I'm going to have those made into my distance glasses, so I can at least use them for TV and stuff. But it'll be fun. You wear contacts? I can't wear contacts. They bother my eyes. I've worn them forever, but they've always bothered my eyes. So. Yeah, dry eyes do not necessarily cause vision damage, but when your eye is dry, the cornea, the lens, I guess, the cornea starts to change shape, and it screws up your prescription. So the lens changes a little and the prescription changes. Yeah. The name of the manufacturer, they're, hold on. I'm going to see if I think I have them on my shelf. I can show you guys. They're Danish. They're really cool. Hold on. See if I can find them, though. They may be in a drawer. sitting on the counter the whole time. That's funny. I'm being funny. I had them sitting on the counter the entire time. Now, I was looking for my old glasses. So these are they. They're kind of small. Well, you can see my old prescription, too. They were like little glasses. I'm not sure I like them now, to be honest. They're too small for me. I don't know. These were they. I'm not totally sure I like them. Although for glasses to look at the TV, they're not bad. But they were like little glasses, as you can see. Like Shaq. I don't know who, I know the name Shaq, but I don't even know who that is. But they're fun because they've got like I said, they're the two colors. It's the dark red and the light red, if you can see. I don't know if you can tell the difference. But it's got like that little subtle two colors, which I thought was very cool. So anyway. But I like them. I think they're really neat. So. And yeah, there's lots of, well, and these were like 13 years ago. 14 years ago, probably. I mean, it was sort of, they were new back then. Funny, they're a little girly, I think, to be honest. But nonetheless, I would, like I said, I'd get these for TV now. Perfect. Just get them and I could at least, I mean, these are funny because these are literally like -10. So, a little strong now. All right, see, Ash. All right, guys. Well, they're too strong. This is -10. My prescription now is probably -0.5 or -1 at most, you know? Actually, I found some sunglasses, too. Wait. They're a little big. These are some sunglasses I had from, I think they're too big. Are they too big for me? I found them in a drawer that I had from years ago. For my taste, I think they're a little big. They look a little old man-ish, or not. What do you think? Or they should be lower on me. I don't think so. Yeah, I don't like these on me. Yeah. Yep. Matrix, exactly. Yeah. No, I've got my sunglasses I like are the other ones. These are my favorite sunglasses, actually. These are my favorites. These I like. These I like, too, because they're readers, which I think is so cool. They're the only reading glasses I found where the top is normal, the bottom is for reading, but they put it on the inside of the lens so you don't necessarily see it. Like, because with those horrible readers on the outside, you look like an old man. But I love these. These are now these might be the ones I got in Paris, I think. I might have gotten them from Costco. I either got these from Costco or Paris. I'm a little suspicious it might have been, no, this wasn't Paris. I think this was Costco. Costco sold these at one point and then stopped. And I was like, how the hell could you stop selling these? Because they're really, but again, they're reading sunglasses. So the top is normal and the bottom is reading. So I can wear these outside and then read with them. Oh my God, they're fab. I love these sunglasses. They're my favorite. Yeah. Because they're very pretty, I think, like as glasses go. Anyway, all right, enough of the show and tell with the glasses. Anthony Bourdain, I get that. I get the Anthony Bourdain thing. It's funny. Only the last few years with the hair, I've gotten that. I find that very funny. Because he was much more clearly more of a wild man than I. But, you know, Terminator. I like Terminator glasses if they fit well. These, I think, fit my face well. You know, is Paris a district of Costco? And I wish. Aviators. Some of the aviators, too, are cool, but you've got to get, you know, everything's got to be right for your face, you know? And I find haircuts, too. Astigmatism, yeah. I've got astigmatism, too. That can be its own problem. But you can get the astigmatism for your glasses. It can be fixed. Contacts is a problem, yeah. Yeah. With those dry eye drops, some had bacteria in them and people went blind. Oh, nice. That's nice. Well, I'm hoping, I got mine from Costco, hoping it's U.S. made. Jesus, Flojo, that's scary. Well, I'm going to have to see where these are made. Now you're worrying me. Hoping it's American. Alcon. Well, we'll have to see, hopefully. Yeah, that's scary. I can imagine, yeah. All right, guys. We've been getting glasses at Costco, but they don't have much selection. No, American, go to Paris. That's the thing that's annoying, though. American glasses selections have certainly gotten better. But, you know. Yet another thing I think Europe does very well. They do their clothing very well, and they do glasses very well. Expensive, but very nice. Crazy expensive, actually, but very, very nice. So, anyway, all right, good night, guys. I'm going to sign off, all right? Have a good night. See you guys. See a bunch of you in the morning, 11 a.m. Eastern. Otherwise, see you guys on Monday. All right, bye-bye. Have a good night.